the 20 Talks Podcast. Let's hit it. It's the 20 Talks Podcast. Let's go. It's the 20 Talks Podcast. Oh, oh, oh.
So, Lauren, welcome to your podcast, 20 Talks.
Thank you.
How do you feel? We're finally here.
Yeah, it's mental.
So it's been a long time coming. And one of the reasons that we thought we should start a podcast is that we work together a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
And we have many, many chats over the nail desk as colleagues, as working mums, as nail tech and client, as brand owner and salon owner.
Yep.
So we just thought it was time to put our ADHD-esque conversations,
Yeah.
self-diagnosed of course, onto audio form,
Yeah.
into a podcast. And here we are. So Lauren, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a mum of two. I'm a salon owner. I've been doing nails on and off for, I think, now 17 years. So I've been in the industry a long time in lots of different ways. Sometimes I've just been kind of doing it on the side of another career. And now I've grown it to the point where I'm a salon owner. So that's really me.
Amazing. So you are a 20 educator as
Yes.
well, and we work closely together with regards to new product launches, and we are currently working on 20 education.
Yes.
So that hopefully will be launching some point 2025.
Yes.
And we wanted to come on here to really just talk about the nail industry as a whole. We wanted to talk to people about being working mums, about being business owners, about being brand owners. And I think that it's quite nice to, when you are self-employed and you are working by yourself, as a lot of nail techs do, not everyone is working in a salon with a team of people.
No.
It's nice to, as obviously you've got your clients, and the chances are you, unless they've booked a silent appointment, which let's face it, happens very rarely, because
Yeah.
everyone comes to emotionally dump on top
Yeah.
of you, and they come for a good old chat, which is what we love.
Yeah.
But you know, you're talking about the client and you're talking about life. You're not necessarily talking about business.
No.
You're not necessarily talking about the industry or what it's like to own a salon or what it's like to be a nail tech. So we wanted to put together a podcast,
Yeah.
hence 20 Talks, so that we could cover all of that, and we could kind of be your bestie within the nail industry.
Yep.
So that you've got someone to tune into, maybe when you're cleaning up the salon of an evening, or maybe when you're driving to work in the morning.
Yeah.
Someone that knows what it's like to be where you are. They know what it's like to run a business and to be a working nail tech, with all the struggles and all the triumphs and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. So what we're going to talk about today is prescriptive manicures.
Yes.
Yes. Now, this is a term that has been bandied around quite a lot recently, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
it seems
everyone
to
is
be like the
talking
hot
about.
thing.
I mean, every industry has its terms, don't they? And a lot of the time, you can be like, "What on earth is this now? Like, what on earth are they going on about
Yeah.
now?" Like, you know, in the fitness industry, you've got, what is it? Intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
which essentially is skipping breakfast.
Yeah.
Right? You miss your breakfast. That's
Yeah.
intermittent fasting, but it's given a
Been
fancy
doing it for
name.
years.
Or like carb cycling or whatever other things
Yeah.
they come out with. And many people might hear prescriptive manicures and be like, oh God, what is this? Something else that they're, you know, trying to sell us.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, you might be doing it already.
Probably.
It might be something that you're doing every time a client sits down in that chair opposite you. You might be already giving them a prescriptive manicure, or you might be doing what I would imagine a lot of nail techs are doing. And not that this is necessarily a bad thing, but it might be a good opportunity for you to think about it and potentially bring in a prescriptive manicure.
Yeah.
But what you might be doing, as we all do when someone sits down in front of us, we go, okay, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
And generally that's about the aesthetic. It's about, I'm having red nails, I'm having a French, I'm having nail art, I'm having chrome, whatever. It's not necessarily about what your client needs for their specific nails.
Yeah.
So I just put into ChatGPT of what prescriptive manicures is.
Yeah.
Because obviously ChatGPT is everyone's go-to now. It's everyone's new Google, isn't it?
I mean,
Need something
yeah.
answering? Put it in ChatGPT. So here we are. So ChatGPT says that a prescriptive manicure is a tailored approach to nail care that focuses on addressing individual nail and skin concerns. Right?
Yep.
Tick. It goes beyond aesthetics to cover the health of nails, cuticles and surrounding skin. Tick. The prescriptive element involves a detailed consultation to identify specific needs and recommend products or treatments accordingly.
Yep.
So, if I am a client coming into your salon,
Yep.
what could I expect as a prescriptive manicure? So how would you treat me if I'm coming in and your way of working is to prescribe a manicure for someone? What would you look for, and how would you administer it?
So I think really it's just adding it in as part of your initial consultation. So that might be a real sort of basic level of what we're doing. Let's have a look at what's on your nails now. What have you had done before? Or it might be that you are sitting there and they've come in and they've got some real concerns. Mm-hmm. So I think you've just got to have it as your initial questions.
Yeah.
So instead of just being like, what are we doing today? What colour do you want? It's, how's your nail health?
Yep.
Where have you been before? What's on there now?
Mm-hmm.
And you will find that a lot of people will come in and immediately say, I've got this massive split on my nail. I've had it since I was young and I can't do anything about it. They will highlight these things, but sometimes it's stuff they're not aware of.
Yeah.
So they might have deep ridges. They might have real dry cuticles, really sore, picked fingers. All of these things are things that you should be looking at and then thinking about how you can support that with the manicure.
Okay. So would you always sit someone down and be like, especially if they're an existing client and you've known them forever, it's slightly different because you know their nail health, you know what they've had on their nails before. But if it's a brand new client, would you sit them down and be like, what are your nail goals?
Yeah, 100%.
Because they might come in expecting to be able to have super long square nails, for example, but the structure and health of their nails just isn't going to permit it. Yeah.
I think it's got to be your first question. What do they want to achieve long term? And for me, I'm a real advocate of natural nail health. So if someone comes in and they're like, I just want instant length, I'm then immediately going back to them and saying, but in future, do you want that to be your natural nail? Do you want to get it to that point? Because we can get it there. I think a lot of people just think that, they can have an extension put on every time, but actually I don't want to do that. Maybe if they've got an event, I'll do a Gel X extension or something like that. But in my head, I'm thinking I'm going to move them to hard gel. I'm going to move them to builder gel or whatever it is that they need to get them that desired finished goal.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Because they might have a goal in mind, but they're not thinking about the steps of getting there.
No.
They just know what the
it is work. Like it is work and it is commitment. And I think they're the types of clients that you need in your business as well. So from a business perspective, you need clients that are willing to commit to you and to listen to all of your advice. And, once they leave, look after those nails that you've given them so that they can get to their end goal. Realistically, for me, I'm not about just giving them that instant length and, them going away, picking them all off, coming back and I do the same thing next time. That's not how I run my business and that's not how I want them to sort of show me off as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's your reputation out there, isn't it?
So I think actually giving that initial consultation does give that client a little bit of an insight into who you are and how serious you take this.
Yeah.
And how professional you are, really.
Yeah, exactly. It sets you as the expert in the situation.
Yeah.
Because, they're coming to you for a reason.
Yeah.
And they're paying money for a reason because you're the professional. So
Yeah.
setting out in a professional manner by, giving them prescriptive manicure that is working for their nail goals, for their nail health.
Yeah.
Is only a good thing because it sets you apart from potentially other techs that aren't doing that.
Yeah.
So, right, let's pretend I'm a client.
Let's pretend. You are a
so
client.
I am a
as well.
client, but let's have a look to see what you would offer me. So, I have very, very weak natural nails.
Yep.
It's not something that I've been blessed with. My nan, right, used to have the most incredible nails you've ever seen in your life. Naturally so beautifully long. They were as tough as nails, funnily enough. They were so super strong, and all she'd have to do was just pop a little bit of obviously gel nails were not around in those
a little
days.
bit of varnish.
She'd pop a little bit of, I don't know, like Estee Lauder on or something like that, and they would look incredible for ages, and like they never broke. And then I'd be there like with my horrible little weak thin nails that even as a kid, like even when you're super healthy and everything's growing, my nails were still dreadful. I'm a reformed nail biter. Would you believe that an owner of a gel nail polish brand,
You're like, I know why we need these.
I know
products
why
now.
we need them, because and that's another thing is that I will, as like quite an anxious person, I will really pick at my nails because I can no longer bite them because I've always got an overlay on, which is obviously a fantastic thing because now I always have stunning nails. Thank you, Laura. But instead I tap them.
Yeah.
And I fiddle with them. And I'm quite irritating as as clients come because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't look after them that well. I don't.
Didn't want to say.
I'm really showing myself up here, but I'm not very good with the cuticle oil.
You're not the best client, basically.
So let's recap. So I do have very weak natural nails. I'm essentially a shit client because I don't look after my nails.
Yeah.
But you know me, I love a short square.
Yeah.
And even with the strongest builder gel in the world, Build and Boost, as we know, I will still get lifting at that free edge. I'll still get lifting at the corners, and as much as it pains me that I can't have my micro French on my short nail, which is my go-to design, what would you prescribe for me as my prescriptive mani that would work best for my nails?
So I think there's a few things. Obviously, I know with you that Builder Gel only works with you for a certain length and a certain shape. And that's pretty much the same for most people. Builder Gel is a great thing, a really, really great thing. But it is quite flexible still. Yeah. So some people need that flexibility. But actually, hard gel is a great option, especially if you've got weak nails, especially if you want a nice, solid shape. So I would probably suggest trying a hard gel, whether that's a bottled hard gel or a pot hard gel, with a rubber base underneath. Give that a go, and then use that cuticle oil.
And would you say that because, if I'm coming in as a client and I've got such an idea that, and I might not be a new client, I might be an existing client, and I have got such a bee in my bonnet about having, for example, a short square, that full well that I'm not going to be able to keep. Would you just go for it and try and hard gel and hope that it sticks, or would you be like, listen, love, you need to have an almond because
I think
it's not going to last.
You've got to be realistic with your client. You're not a magician, and I think setting those boundaries is also key. Like you cannot, if they're not going to go away and stick to what you've advised, And some people can't, you know, some people are cleaners, some people are hairdressers, some, you know, they're using their hands a lot. And that shape just might not be for them. But with hard gel, you can reinforce those edges. You can sort of artificially create that nice solid square and almost encapsulate the nail. And you can get away with it. So it's worth trying to, you know, at the end of the day, you want to give your client what they want.
Yeah.
But being realistic with them. And, you know, it is trial and error and it is give and take.
Yeah.
And I think I'm so lucky with the clients that I've got that I am very open and honest with them. And we do try things and sometimes, you know, they work. And other times we do have to then go, you know what, this isn't for you. Yeah. But there's plenty of products out there to try. And that's the key, really, having that, one, the knowledge yourself and being qualified in multiple services, I think is key.
Yeah, very much so. Also, I suppose that if someone comes in like my nan, with super strong natural nails, your go-to isn't going to be builder gel. It might become so natural to you to always put a builder gel on every single client, but not every single client needs that reinforcement.
No, I think a lot of people so when we say strong nails, you've got strong nails, but you've also got people who have got a definite apex in their natural nail.
Yeah.
Some people have super, super flat nails. If you've got long, quite strong, but flat nails, I would go for an enhancement in some way. So that might be builder gel because it's got the flexibility. But you need to add that in because otherwise it's just going to completely fracture and probably break really low down.
Yeah. And that's really
and
painful.
I've got that really, I do have strong nails and they grow well, but if I hit them, they are just snapping way too low because I haven't got enough of an apex.
And that can cause problems to the actual nail itself, the natural nail itself.
You know, you saw mine one the other day that I ripped off.
Yeah.
And yeah, that damage can last forever and then your nail grows back, you know, not the right shape or whatever it is. But some people genuinely have the most perfect apexed, thick nails. And yeah, you know, you can just stick a rubber base on, go with a colour. It doesn't have to always be builder gel. And I think we love builder gel. Everyone loves builder gel. But I think we've naturally gone, you know, everyone needs this.
Yes.
And they don't necessarily.
It's almost like it's taken over the base coat.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's like,
which, you know, it can be used as. But then these people that are coming in, they don't need a full overlay. Yeah. It is just a thin coat. So I think, we've just got to be a bit more flexible with the way we price things, the way we write it in our services. Yeah. You know, you can have these things as little add-ons if you want, rather than having them all as individual services. So you can have like a gel colour service and then add on builder gel as a base, add on builder gel as a structured money, whatever it is, whatever makes it easiest for you to understand and your client. But having all these options is only going to be beneficial.
Yeah, completely. And also, you know, if someone's coming in and they've booked a certain service, but actually when you do see them, it's not going to work for them, having that add-on is easier to be like, okay, we're probably not going to be able to do that today, but what we can do is this, and then you can kind of tell them that add-on is going to be X amount, and then they can, you know, then factor that into the price of the actual service itself. Yeah,
I think it's all about how you lay it out, and people are quite visual, aren't they? So you know, having it on your price list in that way that it is kind of like these little tabs that add in is quite an easy way of doing it.
Yeah, very much so.
But I think that is something as well that, you know, sometimes a client will book in the wrong thing. And I've always been one to just be quite free with amending that. I know some people, you know, if they've booked in for your longest service and then they've added on platinum art, which takes you 2 hours normally, and it's blocked out a massive gap. Obviously, that's very frustrating. But you've got to also think about it in terms of them coming back as well. You know, if you really push that they pay that £100 price rather than, you know, 60 that it turns out being, are they going to come back?
So this is kind of going off piste a little bit, but if someone has booked in something like platinum nail art, because you know it's going to be quite full on, would you say to them before they even come in, can you send me some examples of what you
100%,
want? Because otherwise, you know,
especially if it's a new client, I think it's worth just checking in on everyone and, you know, 24 hours before going, send me something over.
Yeah.
And then as well, if it's not something you're comfortable doing, being honest about it as well and saying, actually, I haven't got the products for that, or it's not something I've done before, so maybe can we do something else this time, and I'll practice and do it next time. But yeah, I think flexibility is key.
Yes, and managing your clients' expectations.
Yeah.
So that they're not walking away feeling that they haven't got the service that they were expecting.
Yeah, or not knowing why, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're quite clear
Yeah.
that actually the thing they've booked is not going to work, and giving them a real reason why, then that's fine. But I think sometimes, you know, we have all been and had our nails done and walked out and gone, what the hell is this?
It's like when you have a bad haircut.
Yeah.
We've all been
Yeah. You feel so deflated and are you going to go back?
Yeah.
So I think there's two ways of it, and you've just got to make sure that you're being honest with yourself and with your client.
Yeah.
When it comes to any of it.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. So another thing that we're all hyper aware of within the industry is reactions.
Yes.
So if someone is coming into you who has had a reaction in the past, how would you deal with that, and what would your prescriptive mani be for that person?
So I think you've got to be really, really careful with allergies. At the moment, it's quite heightened. I think we are seeing it more. I think, first of all, you've got to ask if they know what they're allergic to. So they might have had a reaction. Have they actually delved into that more? Have they gone to see a dermatologist?
Yeah, because going to see a dermatologist and having an actual kind of acrylate allergy test, really, as pricey as they are, really is the only way of knowing exactly what ingredient you're allergic to.
Yeah. And I think as a nail tech, we kind of throw around, you know, allergic to HEMA or whatever it is. But actually, from talking to you and from you, you know, creating a brand with nail products, you've kind of highlighted to me how many ingredients there can be and how many acrylates, for instance, there are. So I think it's not as simple as just, you know, HEMA free.
No.
So really, if your client doesn't know what they're actually allergic to, can you prescribe a manicure for them?
Yeah.
No.
No.
So that would be my first port of call, would be, have you been to a dermatologist?
Yeah.
If they haven't, then that's kind of the advice you're giving them, right?
Yeah.
To seek that.
Yeah.
If they have, fantastic. They come back, all good brands will give you access to all of the ingredients that are in each product. So you can really advise your client then.
Yep.
And
you should be able to, I obviously from 20 and our brand, that we make that so accessible. On kind of everywhere you look. So it should be on the product page of each product on the website. You should be able to access it. You shouldn't. The SDS should be available. So the safety data sheets of all the ingredients should also be available.
Which is a minefield.
And they're quite often buried in the dark depths of the website. But they should also be available. But I think it should just be a drop-down box that you can easily access, you know, when you're just on the product page of the website. And of course, it's going to be on the back of the bottle. So my advice as a brand owner would be, when people are contacting us to ask about the ingredients or whether, you know, their client can use it if they've got a HEMA allergy, is just check the back of the bottle before every single service. So if your client knows what they're allergic to, bingo. That's kind of like the gold standard. They get all the brownie points in the world for going and doing that. I understand that it's not accessible to everyone because they are expensive. But if you are really dead set on getting your nails done and you do get that, 9 times out of 10, you can pinpoint the exact ingredient, and then you can completely avoid it. So
Yeah.
by knowing that, having that information, being armed with that information, and telling your nail tech that, they can, if they're using a reputable brand, should be able to access that information really freely.
Yeah.
And, you know, if they're struggling finding it on the website, it'll always be on the back of the bottle.
Yeah.
So they can always check before every single service that they do, have a quick skim of the back of the bottle. If it doesn't contain that ingredient, then you should be good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about in the past, you and I, of kind of patch testing.
Yeah.
And it's something that we were actually going to write a bit of a blog post on, and I wanted to pick your brains on it. Because could that potentially be part of a prescriptive mani? Could you do patch testing? You know, we do it for our hair and for our eyebrows and our lashes. Yeah. Could we potentially do patch testing for nails and see, you know, if there are potentially any side effects? But the problem is with nails is that it can potentially be the prolonged exposure of certain ingredients that can cause an issue. So if you're patch testing for 48 hours, you might not get any kind of reaction, in which case you go ahead with your treatment and 2 weeks later you get a problem. 3 months later you get a problem. So it's very difficult to do a patch test for 48 hours and then be confident to go ahead. And you pointed us in the direction of Lottie Seymour of Mani Science. Who obviously Mani Science and Lottie. So Lottie is not only, I mean, triple threat. Wowzers. She is a designer, which is why her brand Mani Science looks so incredible. She is a nail tech, and she's also a scientist, the clever egg. So, you know, wow, I mean, like, could she get any more fantastic?
I know.
So she really is a little gem in the crown of the nail industry, because she is doing her very utmost to try and kind of cease all the scaremongering when it comes to allergies, and kind of put science behind it, put people's minds at rest, and kind of look at treatments and services, and not necessarily jumping ship from a brand and moving completely over to HEMA-free, and, you know, just completely kind of doing a complete U-turn on your brand that you've been using for years because you might have potentially had one reaction with one person. She's kind of, Mani Science is trying to educate the industry of the facts behind allergies, the reasons why they might be occurring, and what you can do as a client to potentially prevent them. And one of those things is informed consent. So when we're going to get our Botox done, when we are having really kind of any facial, treatment, whether it is
anything,
even just
operations,
or, you know, even if we're just having a facial, we've all been there and we've all ticked the boxes. We've said if we've got any autoimmune conditions, whether we're pregnant, whether we're breastfeeding, you know, we go through the whole checklist, and then we're told of the risks, and we then make a decision whether we want to go ahead or not. And we're told about the products that are being used and their potential side effects, and it's up to us as clients whether we want to go ahead. We've been told all of the whys and wherefores, and do you want to go ahead? Yes. Okay, then you take the responsibility of that.
You sign it,
as long as all of the procedures that are required are administered by the professional that is actually doing the treatment. And that's not something that is really done within the nail industry, and that's something that Lottie is, you know, trying to roll out and advocating. So you spoke to Lottie, and hopefully we're going to get her on the podcast as a guest, because that would be brilliant, because it would be lovely to sit down with her.
Definitely. And I think it's like needed. I think the lack in scientific knowledge when you become a nail tech is crazy. You know, in America you go to beauty school, and the kind of detail that you delve into to be a beautician is much higher than what we have to do here. And I think that's why in the UK we are all searching to learn more, aren't we? Like, I'm constantly doing courses and
And education is a huge part of the
Massive.
UK nail industry.
Because we have to search for it.
Yeah.
It's not, you go to college and that is the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, there's no extras. There's nothing you can add on. College should be the be all and end all, really.
You should,
but it's not.
yeah. I mean, other than hands-on experience, you should be able to come out of college kind of knowing
With
as
the
much,
depth of knowledge,
knowing much as you possibly can before you go out there.
Especially the science behind it, right? And the chemical way in which nail products work. And I think until I saw Lottie's posts, I was a little bit oblivious to it, really.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it cured under a lamp. I didn't know how it worked.
Yes.
Yeah,
how the monomers reacted, how they cured.
and why you might get a heat spike,
Yeah.
why you might get an allergy. All of these things were kind of very low level understanding for me because it's not necessarily in a course to be accredited. Like you don't have to know it, which again, it's going back to the fact that it's unregulated. Everything's unregulated in the nail industry. So we kind of have to do it for ourselves. So Lottie is putting these things in place that are lacking. And informed consent is one of them. And I think we should be doing consent forms. We should be doing consultations as a standard so that we can track products we're putting on clients. So if they ever did get a reaction, we can kind of look back.
Yeah, you can look
almost
back and
got a
see,
history,
exactly
which is the
what
same
you've
with
been
anything
using.
else. You do browse and you know what tint you've used, and
it's impossible if you've got a full salon. It's completely impossible for you to remember what you've put on everyone.
Oh my god, yeah. So actually doing these forms, it wouldn't take long, and we probably should be doing it.
Yeah.
And if regulations were to come in, I'm sure that would be something that was put in place. So why not be ahead of the game?
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of
future-proof.
Yeah,
your
and that's
business.
what Lottie's sort of supporting.
Yeah.
But with the Mani Science packs that you can get, they also help you to advise your client on products that you can trial, basically. So almost doing patch testing, but with actual science to back it up.
Right.
Whereas if we're patch testing, we don't really know what is causing a reaction if they do get one.
Right.
So I think this is where Lottie was kind of like, you've got to be a bit careful with patch testing because we haven't got a process to follow. We haven't got a process of elimination, really.
No.
So
and unless you have a structured recording of that, it's going to be very difficult for you to work out what it was on that particular client, on that. And obviously, because we have the potential of the prolonged exposure, it could have been something that maybe was triggered 3 treatments ago.
Oh, yeah.
So by keeping a record of everything that you've been using really helps you, like you say, with the process of elimination. And so Lottie, so with the Mani Science, so this is a physical product that you can buy. So
so there's an actual training,
right,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone should do that. And
that will dive into kind of the science behind, right.
And then the Mani Science packs that she's created are purchasable and are beautifully designed. But they give you a way of taking informed consent when someone has had an allergic reaction, and steps to kind of follow, which we don't have any guidance. So this is like the guidance that we need. So it'd be really, really good to get her on so she can talk about it more and explain it and kind of give us a little insight, hopefully.
And that's what we want. We want to be able to bring guests onto the show where they can give the listeners and the viewers some real good nuggets of information that they can take away with them that they potentially aren't getting from anywhere else. And the absolutely wonderful thing about the nail industry as a whole, but particularly the UK nail industry, because as you say, our kind of college process is very different to the US, for example, is that the thirst for knowledge is, almost insatiable. Everyone is desperate for more information. And, we released our free online masterclasses that we put together. And they walk you through the application process of our products.
Yeah.
And we made them free so that everyone can access them, because if you buy our products, we want you to be able to have access to all the information you possibly need to be able to get the most from your services. And we have had such a fantastic response. Like, everyone is really enjoying them and they're loving the fact that they're free. And we have so many enrollments on a daily basis of everyone kind of getting onto those courses. And that is just a fraction of the education that is out there for the whole of the nail industry. There are so many amazing educators. There are so many amazing education platforms. You can have one-to-one. You can be part of a community. You can, you can go on education courses with brands as we're setting up. There is so many resources out there, and I think that is a testament to the industry itself. Because without the demand, there wouldn't be the supply. And it's so brilliant that everyone is trying to better themselves, better their business for their clients and for themselves. And so for bringing people onto the pod like Lottie, who can give us a little bit more information to the science behind everything, and probably explain it in a much better way than we could. It will just help everyone even more so, and I think it will be really, really well received.
100%.
So really looking forward to getting her on, whether it will be the next episode or the episode after that. But we've spoken to her and she is keen to come on. So that will be really exciting. So brilliant. I think when I come and sit down in your chair across from you, I'm going to expect my prescriptive mani, and I'm going to be very much looking forward to it. And no doubt it is going to be with our new hard gel that we are currently working on.
Hence the odd nails.
Hence the mismatching nails. But this is what happens when you work with brands. You get tasked with all sorts of things, and you end up probably not having the most beautiful nails. But, we're doing it for the greater good. We're doing it for the masses.
Sacrificing myself. No, my nails are great. So it's fine.
So that's currently in the works. So we're very excited to release that soon. It's not currently in production, but we are in the sampling stages, and we just want to make it absolutely perfecto before we bring it to market, of course. So that's an exciting little bit of information from 20. And if anyone wants to find you, Lauren, where can we access you and your info?
So I've got Instagram, which is lady.lucknails, and then the salon is ladyluck.ladyluck, or the website is ladyluckstudio.co.uk.
And you don't mind if anyone kind of drops you a DM if they want to ask any questions,
anything.
And as we say, we will be launching 20 Education. We are working very, very hard on it.
Very hard.
Yeah,
it's coming.
It's coming. It's definitely coming. We know that you guys have been asking about it for a long, long time. So don't worry. It's in the works, as is the hard gel. So yes, be patient. We appreciate your patience, but it is coming. And if you want to contact us at 20, our most active social media platform is Instagram, so you can contact us there at 20.pro.official, or you can drop us an email at hello@20pro.co.uk. We'd love to hear from everyone. If you have any ideas of future podcast episodes, if you'd like us to cover any topics, if you want us to talk about anything, if you want to know the nitty-gritty about certain things, like we are open books, right? We are happy to chat about anything and everything. And we are really looking forward to the next episode. We will be back talking all things nails, and thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the very first episode. And as we say, we will be back with more. And we can't wait for a whole series of 20 talks.
I can't wait.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Lauren. I hope
you
enjoyed your very first episode.
Yes, and you.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.